What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC 315. We have Belal Muhammad going against Jack Della Maddalena. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. I'm looking forward to this card from a betting perspective. You know, as a fan, it's, you know, a kind of a weak pay-per-view. Like, I wouldn't really pay to go to this one personally. I wouldn't pay to watch this one. But, you know, from a betting perspective, there are a lot of spots sticking out, and I'm looking forward to breaking it all down for you guys. Before we get into, if you guys could, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. If you guys want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other content, early access to bets, my stats, access to Discord, betting articles, etc., etc. Check it out on dfsbythenumbers.com. And yeah, looking forward to this card. Have a ton of action, 5 moneyline bets. This is probably the most CLV I've gotten in a while, which could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing because the CLV curse is real. But we'll see. Maybe we can break the curse coming up this Saturday. So yeah, guys, I say we get into it. And by the way, the best bet show was already done Thursday night. If you guys have not seen that, go check it out. There'll be no Friday Final Thoughts stream either. I'm heading out of town for the weekend. All right, let's get into some fights here. We have the first fight of the card. It is Bakshot Amicon going against Brad Katona. This is my first bet of the card. I have 1.25 units on Brad Katona at plus 160. And yeah, I just feel like this is going to be a very close fight. You know, Bakshot Amicon, he went out there in his debut on short notice as a big underdog against Umar Nurmagomedov. And yeah, he got beat, but he had that one big moment, right? But, you know, that's kind of why I think the line's where it's at. Like, yes, he knocked down Umar, but, you know, what happened the rest of the fight? He got dominated, which is expected. So you can't really look into that fight. What you can look into, though, is his other fights. And I actually think Bakshot's a pretty solid fighter. I like the striking, a little bit low volume, but does have some power. He can wrestle, he can grapple, you know, top control's pretty good. But yeah, I just feel like he's okay. He's decent, right? I don't think he's going to be some top, 10 guy, but I also don't think he's going to be like 3 fights and done cut type situation. So I think he's just an okay fighter, right? And then on the Katona side, it's the same exact thing. I think Brad Katona is an okay fighter, 2-time Ultimate Fighter winner. This is a guy that has some solid wins in and outside the UFC, very experienced fighter, and good everywhere. You know, solid boxing, love the volume, very tough, very durable, can wrestle, grapple in his own right. So I think these two are just really well matched. So I don't quite get the line. I think it's going to be a situation where, this fight probably goes to decision. The fight to go decision is like minus 265. I think the fight's going to come into the hands of the crooked, corrupt judges. And we are in Canada, which, Brad Katona could potentially get the hometown rub there. And yeah, I think it's going to be the power shots of Amicon, the lower volume but more power, the bigger shots of Amicon, or the minute winning, the more volume of Brad Katona. I could also see Katona mixing in some takedowns here and there as well. So I like the dog shot on Brad Katona, taking it for 1.25 units at plus 160. I expect it to be a very close fight. Next, we got Daniel Santos going against Jung Lee. And yeah, another money line bet here for me. So I have 1.25 units on Jung Lee at plus 125. The line has flipped. It's actually Jung Lee minus 125. Now Daniel Santos plus 105. So I get to hold up my CLV trophy. I get to hold it up high and proud. And to be honest, I would not be betting on Lee at this point. But at a dog money, I had to take a shot at him just due to the fact that, Daniel Santos is coming up a weight class, and Daniel Santos has not fought in 2 years. And quite frankly, I'm even shocked that Daniel Santos showed up today at weigh-ins. With that said, though, he showed up and he missed weight on the first attempt. He missed weight on the first attempt, and he didn't look great, which is to be expected. I mean, he's taken a fight on short notice, but he just did not look great, missing weight, even though he weighed in again and made it like an hour later or so. It's still not the best look. This guy's fought as low as flyweight in the past. So, yeah, I like Lee here, but I liked him a lot more at plus money, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not high on Lee in general, so I don't think he has the highest ceiling, but I just think with the size advantage, the fact that he has had a full camp, I think that's enough to get him the job done, but it definitely could get greasy. So that's my second money line bet of the night, Jung Lee, plus 125 for 1.25 units. Next, we have Marc-Andre Barrio going against Bruno Silva. And, yeah, this is a fight that's definitely 1-800 gambler. But with that said, I have a bet on this fight. It's just, I feel like this is the last opportunity to fade Bruno Silva. This is a guy that actually came in and missed weight. Bruno Silva missed weight. He's on a 1-7 in his last 8 fights. Like, ever since that Pereira fight, he just looks off. He looks very off. And the whole weigh-in situation was really weird to me. He showed up. He didn't look great. He missed weight. He tried to weigh in again with the box. He missed weight with the box, and then he tried to weigh in again. Like, I don't know if Bruno Silva is really all there. I think this guy's an alcoholic. He looks drunk in there. He looks slow in there. He looks very bad when he steps in the cage, and even outside the cage, this guy looks to be slurring his words. I mean, Bruno Silva probably needs to get some help. But yeah, I mean, I like Andre Barrio here. I have 1.5 units on Marc-Andre Barrio. They have the same game parlay. It's Marc-Andre Barrio and the over 1.5 plus 150 for 1.5 units. And then I also sprinkled the Marc-Andre Barrio by submission, because that's what you do against Bruno Silva. You submit him. This guy, Bruno Silva, he's never been knocked out, so he can't take a shot, but he will get hurt and he will tap. And he's been tapped out 7 times. So I think Marc-Andre Barrio wins this fight probably by decision. But if there is a finish, I think Marc-Andre Barrio could potentially, get a club and sub here. Or if Bruno Silva's exhausted, looking for a way out, and Barrio wraps with the neck, he's probably tapping for the 8th time. So I like Barrio here. Probably a better live bet spot as well. But Silva could look so bad that there might not even be an opportunity. So yeah, I like Barrio here. He could get knocked out, but willing to take my chances there. Next, we got Navajo Sterling going against Ivan Erzlan. We got Sterling minus 310, Ivan Erzlan plus 260. I like Sterling here. I like him by knockout. I bet the knockout, the knockout in rounds 2 or rounds 3 plus 280 for 1.25 units. I think it comes late. I think it's attritional. Ivan Erzlan is going to kind of give Sterling the fight he wants. And that fight is a kickboxing fight, and Sterling just a higher level striker by a pretty decent margin. So I think, Sterling breaks him down and eventually finishes him in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I'd like that KO 2-3 for Sterling, 1.25 units plus 280. Next, we got Iwan Kudalaba going against Modestas Bukauskas. I have a 2-unit shot here on Iwan Kudalaba at plus 100. I just thought, he has a lot more paths here. I know Kudalaba is an untrustworthy fighter, but hey, he has the more power in this matchup by a decent margin. I think he's the more durable fighter by a decent margin. And I think he has all the wrestling upside as well. I'm not high on Bukauskas because I never have been. I think he's an okay fighter. He's a very technical striker, very technical guy. But, Kudalaba is going to kind of bring the fire. He's going to take him down. And I think he can win by any method. I could see a Kudalaba knockout. I could see a Kudalaba submission. I could see a Kudalaba decision. So when that's typically the case, when I can see a path for all 3 methods, I usually like to take the money line there, and it's a very playable money line this week as well. So I like Kudalaba. I like Kudalaba on the money line there. Next, we got Jasmine Jasdavicius going against Jessica Andrade. And yeah, we got Jasmine Jasdavicius minus 320, Andrade plus 270. And I think it's pretty simple. And, Jasmine broke it down perfectly. There was a quote from Jasmine Jasdavicius about a month ago that says, Jessica Andrade, she has holes, and I'm looking forward to filling those holes. And I think she broke it down perfectly, because Jessica Andrade indeed does have holes, both in and outside the cage. And in the cage, we see that Jessica Andrade off her back is just very bad. We've seen time and time again fighters take her down and finish her. Jessica Andrade has been finished 9 times in her career, 8 times in the UFC. And it's just hard to not imagine the much bigger Jasdavicius taking down Andrade, getting on top, and just beating the brakes off of her on the ground. So, yeah, Andrade has a puncher's chance, but as long as Jasmine fights smart, gets on top, I think she can either find that TKO, I think she could potentially find a sub. I think she does finish Jessica Andrade, though, in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I have 2 units on the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 105. The line for that hasn't moved much, which I kind of wasn't expecting. I thought violence would get smashed here, because it's like if Andrade is winning, it's a knockout, and Jasdavicius is going to get on top and going to get into dominant positions here. I think a Jasdavicius finish is very live. So yeah, 2 units on the fight doesn't go, minus 105, and then I have 0.75 units on Jasdavicius round 2 plus 650, and then a half unit on Jasdavicius round 3 plus 950. Moving on, we got Mike Malott going against Charles Racky. We got Mike Malott minus 160, Charles Racky plus 140, and this is another fight where I definitely get to hold up my CLV trophy. Oh my gosh, tons of money is poured in on Charles Racky. I got Charles Racky 1 unit plus 215. He's as low as like plus 135. So a lot of love for Charles Racky, a lot of people on him, and it makes sense. I mean, this line should be a lot closer. That line made no sense to me whatsoever. Like, I feel like these two are very well matched. I feel like somebody's going to get served here. I question the durability of both guys. I think Mike Malott's probably the better fighter, like more skilled fighter, but in terms of who, has more dog in him, who, kind of wants to be there more, I absolutely favor Charles Racki. And yeah, I think Racki has multiple paths here. I think he can hurt Malott on the feet. And he's talking in an interview how he wants to show off his submission game a little bit, how he's been working on that submission game with guys like Belal Muhammad, guys like Gerald Mearshart. And I get to see a lot of paths here for Racki. So Racki as a dog makes a lot of sense, even at plus 140. I don't hate at all. But at this point, Racki inside the distance probably the better look. I think I see it like plus 260, which is still pretty decent considering I think if Racki's winning, it is by finish. So yeah, 1 unit on the Racki money line for me, plus 215. And then I have 2 units on the fight doesn't go the distance, minus 200. I think the fight doesn't go at minus 200. Is a great look. Mike Malott went to decision for his very first time in his last fight, but a lot of that had to do with Officer Trevin Giles fighting to not get finished. Officer Trevin Giles went in there, and he took the moral victory of losing by decision. Congratulations, Officer Trevin Giles, for that. You did not get knocked out for the 7th time. But Racki's not going to do that. Racki's going to come forward. Racki's going to make this a firefight, and I think Racki's going to thrive in that firefight. So Racki money line. Fight doesn't go 2 units, minus 200. And then I also have a quarter unit on the Racki submission, plus 1,600. He's talking about potentially surprising us with some grappling. I can see a club and sub. And then, of course, when you're tired, doesn't matter how good of a grappler you are. We've seen the Rodolfo Vieira fight. Mike Malott does get tired. So I could see a Racki late sub, something like that as well. So, yeah, a lot riding on this Racki Malott fight, but I think violence is the answer. Next, we got Benoit St. Denis going against Kyle Prepolek. Nothing here. St. Denis, massive favorite. All the props are trash. I mean, look at that. KO plus 120, trash. Submission plus 120, trash. They're making you pick, making you flip a coin on, what's it going to be? Is it going to be a sub? Is it going to be a KO? Is it going to be a decision? I don't know. I lean sub, but it's hard to get excited about a submission prop at plus 120, so it's a pass. Natalia Silva, Alexa Grasso. Silva minus 250, Grasso plus 210. Another pass here for me. I do have a 4-leg Hail Mary parlay that I'll share at the end, and I just put the fight goes to decision in that. It's chalky, but I think it hits. Silva by decision, minus 250. Seems a bit wide to me, but I think she wins. Next, we got Jose Aldo going against Ayman Zahabi. Very interesting stuff at weigh-ins this week, or today. Jose Aldo apparently was going to miss weight and miss weight badly. And Ayman Zahabi posted, I think on Instagram, that he was already on weight. He posted a video that he was like 136 or so. So they moved it to a catch weight because Aldo was going to miss weight. And apparently Aldo was weighing so much more than Zahabi that Zahabi had to actually, start gaining weight, start rehydrating so he can even make it a catch weight or the fight would be off. So yeah, Jose Aldo looked very bad on the scale. There were 3 fighters that looked rough on the scale. I think Jose Aldo probably looked the worst out of those 3, I'd say. I think Bruno Silva looked very rough. He looked drunk. Daniel Santos, who is a bantamweight, looked rough at featherweight. And then Jose Aldo, I'd say, probably looked the worst here. And I already had a bet on Zahabi at plus 182 for 1 unit. I just think it's a very close fight, kind of like the Katona fight. I mean, I see no reason Jose Aldo should be anywhere near minus 200 in a fight that's going to look 50-50. A fight where it's just going to be close. We're in Canada. Zahabi's the Canadian in this matchup. I love the Zahabi plus 3.5 point spread, which is around minus 165, minus 175. But I just played the money line here, hoping to, get an underdog shot here on Zahabi. And I even looked at the split decision prop. The split decision prop is plus 275, which is by far the worst split decision prop I've ever seen for a men's fight ever, which tells you everything you need to know. This fight's going to decision. This fight's probably going to be a split. And if that's the case, why is Zahabi plus 170? I don't think he's looking minus or plus 170. So yeah, Zahabi on the money line, 1 unit plus 182. Let's see if he can get the nod in a very close fight. Manon Fiora, Valentina Shevchenko. It's a pass for me. I picked Fiora, but I hate that pick. It's a very close fight. The more I think about it, the more I think that Valentina does have a path here, but I just think it's going to come down to whether or not she's able to, get those takedowns. I might live bet this spot, actually, because if Valentina is able to get a takedown here, like in the first round, I'd probably look to live better. If it turns out Valentina's not able to get a takedown, and she's not able to track down Fiora, get her down to the mat, I think Fiora's going to win, and that's kind of where I'm leaning, but I don't know. I struggle with this one, picking Fiorot, but with the littlest of confidence. And then we got Belal Muhammad going against Jack Della Maddalena. My final bet of the night is the same game parlay of Belal Muhammad and the over 2.5 rounds, 2 units, minus 110. I think it's a good way to get that Muhammad price tag down because I don't think he's finishing really anybody, and I don't think he's finishing Jack at least early, and I doubt he finishes it late. I think it's Belal by decision here. But on some books, the decision props like plus 100, minus 105, so you might as well just get the late props in there just in case. So that's what I did. 2 units, Belal Muhammad over 2.5 rounds. And yeah, a lot of money's came in on Jack. Jack's a very popular play, just like Charles Racky. And we'll see. I mean, I like Muhammad quite a bit, and I think he's going to get takedowns here. I think on the feet, you obviously favor Jack, but Muhammad can definitely compete. 5 rounds definitely favors Muhammad. So we'll see what happens. Apparently, like, Muhammad's coming out there saying he's going to strike with Jack for 25 minutes. If he does that, yeah, I mean, Jack's going to look like a phenomenal bet. But if Muhammad comes out here and fights like he always does, and mixes in the takedowns, I think he can take down Jack and take him down easily. We've seen Burns and Hafez do it. So yeah, I like Muhammad here. The line movement, it is what it is. But I think Muhammad gets it done. So yeah, Muhammad and the over 2.5 rounds, same game parlay there. All right, quick recap for the card. 5 money line bets, 1 unit plus 182 on Ayman Zahabi, 1 unit plus 215 Charles Racky, 2 units plus 100 Iwan Kudulaba, 1.25 units on Jung Lee plus 125, 1.25 units at Brad Katona plus 160. I have 2 units on the fight doesn't go to decision in the Jazz DeVicious Andrade fight at minus 105. I have 0.75 units on Jazz DeVicious round 2 plus 650, 0.5 units Jazz DeVicious round 3 plus 950. I have Mike Malott, Racky fight doesn't go to decision, 2 units minus 200. Charles Racky by submission, quarter unit plus 1600. Have Sterling to win by KO in rounds 2 or rounds 3 plus 280 at 1.25 units. Marc-Andre Barrio to win and the over 1.5, 1.5 units plus 150. Marc-Andre Barrio to win by submission, quarter unit plus 1600. And then I have a 4-leg Hail Mary parlay. The first leg is the Mike Malott, Charles Racky fight doesn't go to decision, minus 200. The second leg is the Grasso Silva fight goes to decision, minus 360. The third leg is Navajo Sterling to win by knockout, plus 102. And then the fourth leg is Jazz DeVicious to win inside the distance, plus 185. Half a unit comes out to plus 1,003. Best of luck, everybody. If you guys could do me a favor, like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys are liking for this week. And best of luck for UFC 315. Enjoy the fights, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.